Okay, so let's do the account and view one because that's a little easier, and then we'll do the add account one. So for the account view, I'm going to go ahead and create another fragment. Start with the blank, and let's call this account and view fragment. Okay, and we'll come back to the code, but let's go ahead and start with the layout. So here's our fragment account view, and I think we basically just need two text items here. So I'm going to make a linear layout and set the orientation to vertical. And I'll reuse the existing one, change both of these to wrap content, and I'll add gravity to my linear layout and center things. And let's make the text large. And we need an ID on this one. So the first one's going to be account name. And then the second one is going to be the account password. And doesn't really matter what we have for this text here. So I'm just going to cut the text out entirely, because we're going to be setting that in our code. And now, under our account and view fragment code, we always need to have the empty constructor here, because the operating system calls that when it recreates our app. But we want to have a method that is going to set the information. So let's create a public void set account, and it's going to take an account item. Which is an item. And then when the user passes in the account item, we're going to set the two pieces of text. So let's get both text views. Text view name is equal to text view. Now we can't call find view by ID directly, so we have to call getView.findViewById, r.id account name, and then Alt plus Enter, and then we'll do the same thing for the password. Account password, and then we're going to set the text of the name to be our item.getName, and set the text of the password to be our item.getPassword. Okay, so that should be it for that part. And then in our main activity, when the user clicks on an item in the list fragment is going to call back our onFragment interaction. So here's where we want to create our account view fragment, and then set the item to this item, and then replace the fragment in our content pane. So we'll create a new account view fragment. And then we're going to call fragment.setView. Nope. What did I call that? Hold on. Set account. Okay. So set account of item. And now we can replace fragment in r.id.content fragment with our new fragment. So that'll show the account information. And we also need to tweak the buttons a little bit. So we should already be showing the plus because the user's logged in. So we also want to show the trash while they're on this fragment. So let's go ahead and show menu item, and I called that delete item, and let's see how that looks. Okay, so log in. Now we have our account list. Okay, so we have a little problem. Okay, so our problem is that we have a timing issue. We're creating our fragment, but it doesn't actually exist at this point where we're calling fragment.setAccount yet. So what we want setAccount to do is basically store the account, but then it'll get displayed when onStart is called. So let's change this method. So when they call setAccount, I'm going to have a private account item and current account, and then I'm only going to do this if getView is true, exists. So if the app is currently live, then getView will have a value. And I'll set the current account equal to item. There. So now if the view is live, it will set the value. Otherwise, that will happen when we get to onStart. So onStart is when the view will be live. So I'm going to change this to mCurrent account, and I'll do the same here. And then I'm going to copy this code here, and I'm going to put that in an onStart method. Like so. Alright, so now if we set the item, nothing will happen if the thing isn't visible, but then it'll get displayed when onStart happens. And if the thing is visible and we change the account information, then it'll get updated right away. So let's go ahead and try that. Okay, so I'm going to log in and change. So log in and click on Amazon. And we still have a little issue. And I forgot to call on super onStart again. So it's a theme. So try it now. Great. So now it works, and we have our little trash icon. Great. Alright, so that's it for the account view. Now we need to implement what happens when you delete, and then we also have to implement what happens when you click plus. Okay, so one change I want to make is to the fragment login.xml. The text where it says please enter your password is a little small, so let's go ahead and make that bigger. I'm going to add a text size here, and we'll just make it large. So now when the user logs in, we get a larger text, so that looks okay. Alright, so we've done our password manager, and I want to fiddle with one thing about the trash icon. So really, I want the trash icon to be visible when this fragment is in place. And whenever this fragment is not in place, I want the trash to not be visible. So I could hack my main activity Java code to try to detect all the fragment changes and always update this and so on, but a cleaner way of doing it is to put that right on the account display fragment. So basically, whenever this is showing, when it gets started up, it's going to tell the activity to show this trash can, and whenever it goes away, it gets destroyed, it's going to tell the activity to hide the trash can. We'll do it on start and on stop. So I want to provide a callback in my main activity that implements an interface in my account view fragment. So let's go ahead and add an interface to the account view fragment. And I'm going to define this at the bottom. So public interface on account view. So this is when an account is being viewed. And there's going to be two methods defined, on show delete. And this will be a void on show delete, and a void on hide delete. Now I want to make my main activity implement this interface, and I also need to be able to call the callback on my main activity. So I'm going to need an onAttach here. So let's override onAttach. And this one takes an activity. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have another private. So I'm going to add a private method, which is going to be this onAccount view for mListener. And this is going to be the activity that implements on account view. So mListener is equal to activity. And I have a problem here because activities are not necessarily implementing those things. So what I want to do is cast it to an onAccount view. So now when the activity attaches, I store that in mListener, and then in my onStart, I can call mListener onShowDelete, and then I'm going to have an onStop method as well. which is going to call mListener on hide delete. Okay, so now the fragment's in charge of telling the activity where to show or hide the trash icon. In my main activity, I'm going to implement that interface. So that's going to be on account view. Okay, so now I'm going to implement that interface. And I get these two callbacks. So this one is going to show menu item and delete item. And this one is going to hide menu item and delete item. And then I don't need this anymore. And now whenever my account view is on top, it's going to have the trash icon there. Let's see if it works. So I will log in, and my addition is showing. Click, and I forgot to call the super methods again. So let's go back to our account view fragment, and we'll call the super methods. I forgot to do the onAttach as well. Okay, so super.onAttach activity. Alright, so that should be both of the super methods. Okay, so click. Oh, and it worked. Okay, so there's my trash icon, and it will be here as long as the fragment is in the front. And I don't actually have a way of not having this in the front anymore, so we'll be testing this more as we move along, but it seems to work for now. So let's go ahead and implement this add account, and let's start with this fragment and copy it because this one's pretty similar. So I'm going to go for the login fragment layout. Start by creating a new blank fragment, and this will be the add account fragment. Okay, and under resources layout, let's start with the login layout and go to our add account layout and replace everything. So start from the top. We want the text to be add account here, so this one is going to be add account. We might already have an add account resource. Yeah, we do. We already have an add account resource, so I'm just going to use the existing one here. It's string/add account. And then we need password. We want to show that in plain text. And we also want above there the account name. So let's make this one the account name. So the hint is going to be account. And we need some IDs for these things, so let's make this add account name, and this will be add account password. And I think this is looking okay so far. Submit and cancel. So now we need to have different login and cancel, login cancel and login submit. We want to have add account cancel and add account submit, because these are going to have different behaviors. And so that should be our layout. Let's go ahead and go to our main activity, and when the user clicks on the plus button, that's going to happen here. So if the ID is equal to r.id.action add, what we want to do is replace fragment r.id.content fragment with our new add account fragment, and this will show the fragment. So let's go ahead and test it so we can see the fragment and see if we like the way it looks. Okay, so log in, swordfish. So we have our plus button. Here's our add account fragment. Now if we're showing an account and the trash is showing, if we click on plus, the trash goes away. So it actually seems to work pretty well. So now we have to hook this part up. So let's go ahead and implement our submit button. Let's do the cancel button first because that one's easier. So in our main activity, when the user clicks on the cancel button, that's going to call, what is it going to call? Let's see what it's going to call. Add account cancel. So public void add account cancel view button. And what we want to do when the user cancels the ad is let's return back to, let's just put them back to the welcome. Yeah, let's just put them back to the welcome fragment. So I'm going to replace fragment r.id.content fragment with a new welcome fragment. And then when the user clicks on the submit button, here's where the difficult stuff is. So we're going to have to get the edit text for the name for our r.id.add account name, and we're going to have to get the edit text for the password edit. Let's call this name edit and password edit because they're not actually texts. So this is going to be the edit text r.id.add account password, and then the actual strings are going to be name, which is name edit dot get text dot to string, and string password is equal to password edit, get text to string. And now what we need to do is create a new account item and add it to our adapter. And the adapter is in our list fragment, so let's go ahead and look at our account item fragment. So right now what we have to do basically is we need to tell our list fragment to add another account item. So let's implement a method here for doing that. So I'm going to add a new method which is going to be public, so I can call it from my main activity. Public void add account, and it's going to take an account item, and all I need to do is tell the adapter to add that item. And then I can call that in my main activity. I need to actually get the account list. I don't really have the account list right now, so let's get the account list. So this is going to be an account list account item fragment. Account list. And then basically every time I create a new account item fragment, which is going to happen when they log in, I'm going to store it in that member variable. So here's where I create my new account item fragment, and I'm going to reorder this code a little bit. So I'm going to say maccount_list is equal to the new account item fragment, and then I'm going to pass that in here. And now I'm going to have access to it when they actually add an account. So here's my add account, and maccount_list.add account. Create a new account item and pass in name and password. So let's see how this works. Well, before I do this, I also need to do one other thing. So now, where am I going to go when they hit the submit button? So they typed in the account and hit submit. I think a logical place to go is to the account view showing the new information that they just added. So let's go ahead and do this a little differently as well. So I'm going to create the account item here. And pass that in. And then I'm going to replace the main fragment with a new account view fragment. So in my fragment interaction listener, I basically want to do the same thing here. I want to set the account item and then replace it. So I'm actually just going to call on fragment interaction and pass in the account item. So I get the same behavior if I call that callback from here as I do from the activity. So let's see how this looks. Okay, so we'll log in. And then we'll click the plus button. We'll add a new account. I have a fruit bat account, and the password is fruit bat pass. So here's our account view. We see fruit bat's been added to the list. Looks good.